I was married to Amanda for 6 years and thought we had built a solid life together in suburban Chicago. Our house was not grand but comfortable, with a garden I tended each weekend. My job as a high school English teacher brought modest pay but genuine fulfillment, while Amanda climbed the corporate ladder at her marketing firm. Everything seemed perfect until that Tuesday afternoon when I came home early and overheard her on the phone with her friend Perry is replaceable. I could exchange him for something better any time. Those words shattered my world completely. Before I tell you what I did next, let me know where you are watching from, and hit that subscribe button if you have ever felt undervalued by someone you loved. Your support means everything as I share this painful journey. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in Milwaukee, where my father worked as a plumber and my mother taught at the local elementary school. We never had luxury vacations or fancy cars, but my parents instilled in me the values of hard work, honesty, and treating others with respect. Those values shaped me as I pursued my education degree at Wisconsin State University, dreaming of making a difference in young lives. After graduation, I accepted a teaching position at Westbrook High School in Chicago. The city intimidated me at first with its towering skyscrapers and fast pace so different from my hometown. I spent my first year focused entirely on my students developing curriculum and staying late to grade papers. Dating was the furthest thing from my mind until my colleague Daniel invited me to his housewarming party. "You need to meet people outside of work, Perry," he insisted. "All those teenagers are going to make you forget how to talk to adults." That night changed everything. I was standing awkwardly by the snack table when a woman with striking hazel eyes approached. "That cheese dip is addictive," she said with a warm laugh. "I am Amanda Wilson." She worked in marketing for Lux Brand, a company that created campaigns for luxury goods. Amanda was confident, ambitious, and fascinated by my stories about teaching literature to teenagers. We talked until the party ended, and I asked for her number with my heart pounding like I was 16 again. Our backgrounds could not have been more different. Amanda grew up in Lake Forest, one of Chicago's wealthiest suburbs. Her father was a surgeon, her mother, a former model who now ran charity galas. They had paid for her education at Northwestern University and helped her secure her first job through connections. None of that mattered during our whirlwind romance. We spent weekends exploring Chicago neighborhoods, debating books, and sharing dreams. I loved how her eyes lit up when she talked about her ambitions in marketing. She seemed equally captivated by my passion for teaching. "You see potential in people," she told me once. "That is a rare gift, Perry." After dating for a year, I proposed during a weekend trip to Wisconsin. I had saved for months to buy a modest diamond ring that stretched my budget. Amanda said yes immediately, tears in her eyes as I slipped the ring onto her finger. "It is beautiful," she whispered, though. I noticed her glance at a much larger diamond on a nearby woman's hand. Our wedding was larger than I had envisioned, with Amanda's parents insisting on a country club venue and gourmet menu. I felt out of place among her family friends, who discussed summer homes and European vacations, but Amanda squeezed my hand under the table when she sensed my discomfort. "They will grow to love you, like I do," she promised. For our honeymoon, we spent a week at a resort in Cancun, another gift from her parents. I worried about not contributing equally, but Amanda dismissed my concerns. "We are partners now," she said. "What is mine is yours." We moved into a 3-bedroom house in a nice Chicago suburb, with her parents providing the down payment as a wedding gift. I insisted on paying my share of the mortgage each month, sometimes picking up extra tutoring jobs to make sure I contributed equally to our household. The first 2 years of marriage were blissful. I supported Amanda through a promotion and celebrated each of her successes. She attended school events where my students performed and seemed proud when parents thanked me for inspiring their children. Looking back, I should have noticed the warning signs. Amanda began subtly criticizing my career choice during our 3rd year of marriage. "Have you ever thought about administration?" she asked one night over dinner. "Principals make twice what teachers do." "I became a teacher to work with students, not paperwork," I replied. She smiled tightly. Just thinking about our future. Her own career was accelerating. She began working closely with Jackson Thompson, the marketing director who had graduated from Harvard Business School and drove a Porsche. At first I thought nothing of her late nights at the office or the business dinners that became increasingly frequent. Jackson says, I have potential to be director, someday she would tell me excitedly. I began feeling increasingly out of place at her work functions. Her colleagues discussed vacation homes and investment portfolios, while I had nothing to contribute to such conversations. Amanda would introduce me with a quick, "Perry teaches high school," before steering the conversation elsewhere. After one particularly uncomfortable dinner with her colleagues, I asked if she was embarrassed by my profession. "Do not be ridiculous," she said sharply. "I just do not want to bore everyone with talk about teenager drama and grading papers." I swallowed my hurt and decided to focus on being a better husband. For our 5th anniversary, I planned a special evening with reservations at the restaurant, where we had our first date followed by tickets to a play she had mentioned wanting to see. 2 days before she called to cancel. "I am so sorry, but Jackson organized an important dinner with the Luxe Cosmetics executives. This could mean the European account for us. We can celebrate another night," I said, hiding my disappointment. That evening I graded papers at home alone. Out of curiosity, I checked the Instagram account of her colleague Sophia and saw photos posted from Alinea, a restaurant with 3 Michelin stars. There was Amanda laughing beside Jackson, no executives in sight. The caption read, "Team Celebration Dinner." I confronted her gently when she came home. "Oh, the executives canceled last minute," she said dismissively. "Jackson thought the team deserved a nice dinner for all our hard work." I nodded and let it go, though the incident left a hollow feeling in my chest. As our 6th year of marriage progressed, the distance between us grew despite my increased efforts to please Amanda. I took on Saturday tutoring sessions and summer school teaching to earn extra money, hoping to ease her frequent comments about our financial limitations. Jennifer and Mark just bought a vacation condo in Florida, she mentioned after having lunch with her college friend. Must be nice to have that freedom. I worked harder, slept less, and tried to be the husband she wanted. Yet Amanda seemed increasingly indifferent to my sacrifices. She spent more on designer clothes and expensive salon treatments, while questioning my small purchases for my classroom. "Do you really need to buy those books for your students?" she asked when I mentioned spending $100 on novels for kids who could not afford them. "Is that not what school budgets are for?" When I explained that budget cuts had eliminated my classroom library allowance, she rolled her eyes. "Maybe you should consider that private school that recruited you last year. At least they have proper funding." I reminded her that the private school served wealthy families, not the disadvantaged students I was committed to helping. She changed the subject, but her message was clear. My ideals were costing us financially. Then came that Tuesday in April that changed everything. Parent conferences had ended early, and I stopped to buy Amanda flowers on my way home, hoping to reconnect over dinner. Our anniversary was coming up, and though money was tight, I had saved for months to buy her a pair of sapphire earrings she had admired. I entered our house quietly, planning to surprise her. Her voice drifted from her home office door, partially open. She was on the phone, laughing in that bright social way she reserved for her professional friends. "Perry is sweet, but honestly, Jane, men like him are replaceable. I could trade up for something better any day." I froze in the hallway, flowers dangling from my suddenly numb hand. "No, of course, he has no idea," she continued. "You should have seen the watch Jackson got for his birthday from his wife. Meanwhile, Perry thinks he is splurging when he buys me flowers that will die in 3 days." She laughed again. "Yes, exactly. I love him, but sometimes I wonder what life would be like with someone more ambitious. Did I tell you Jackson invited me to join him at the marketing conference in London? Separate rooms, of course, but still." Her words cut deeper than any knife could have. I stood silently, heart pounding in my ears as she continued. "Perry's big surprise for our anniversary. He's been hiding a small jewelry box in his drawer. Probably those sapphire earrings from the mall," I pointed out. "Sweet, but you know." Meanwhile, Jackson's wife just got a 3-carat diamond upgrade for their anniversary. Another laugh. "No, I would never cheat. But sometimes I think about how easily I could find someone better situated. Someone who could give me the life I deserve without struggling." I backed away silently, leaving the front door open as I fled to my car. The flowers lay forgotten on our welcome mat as I drove aimlessly through suburban streets, my vision blurred with tears I refused to let fall. For hours I circled the city, replaying 6 years of marriage in my mind. How many times had she compared me to wealthier men and found me lacking? How many sacrifices had I made that she had dismissed as insufficient? I checked into a roadside motel, eventually unable to face returning home. Lying on the stiff mattress, I stared at the water-stained ceiling and wondered how I had missed the signs that my wife saw me as nothing more than a placeholder until something better came along. When I finally returned home the next evening, Amanda barely acknowledged my absence. Working late, she asked casually, scrolling through her phone. I took a deep breath. I heard what you said yesterday, about me being replaceable. Her head snapped up, eyes widening momentarily before her expression smoothed into practiced innocence. What are you talking about? I came home early. I heard your phone conversation with Jane. She laughed dismissively. You must have misunderstood. We were talking about replacing our office staff. No, Amanda. You specifically said I was replaceable, that you could trade up for something better. Her strategy shifted instantly. You were eavesdropping on a private conversation. That is a violation of my privacy. I was not eavesdropping. I was walking into my own home. This is exactly your problem, Perry. You are so insecure about my success that you twist innocent conversations into something sinister. Her voice took on a practiced, patient tone. If you heard anything like that, you completely misunderstood the context. I stared at the stranger wearing my wife's face, realizing that the woman I loved had either never existed or had disappeared long ago. I heard every word clearly, I said quietly, including your comments about London with Jackson, and comparing my gifts to his wife's 3-carat diamond. A flicker of panic crossed her face before she composed herself. You are overreacting. Everyone vents to their friends sometimes. It does not mean anything. That night, I moved my things into our guest bedroom, too emotionally exhausted to continue the conversation. Amanda acted as though nothing significant had happened, casually mentioning dinner plans with the team, before leaving me alone in a house that suddenly felt like a museum to a failed marriage. Sleep evaded me for days as I reviewed our entire relationship through this new painful lens. Memories shifted and rearranged themselves. The times Amanda had been working late with increasing frequency. The mysterious text messages that made her smile secretively. Her sudden interest in London literature and culture, shortly after Jackson mentioned the conference. One sleepless night, I opened our shared laptop to work on lesson plans and noticed she had forgotten to log out of her email. I had never invaded her privacy before, but desperation and hurt pushed me to click on her inbox. There they were, dozens of emails between her and Jackson, nothing explicitly romantic, but filled with inside jokes and unnecessary personal details about weekend plans and favorite wines. One message discussed their upcoming London trip, with Jackson mentioning the hotel had accidentally booked their rooms on the same floor. Further searching revealed financial secrets that stunned me. Amanda had opened a separate bank account 6 months earlier where she deposited portions of her bonuses without discussing it with me. Meanwhile, I had been stretching myself thin with extra jobs to contribute to our joint expenses. The next morning, I called Nathan, a friend I had neglected during my marriage, at Amanda's subtle urging that he was not really our kind of people. Nathan had divorced 3 years earlier. I wondered when you would finally see it, he said after I explained my situation. I tried to hint at her behavior whenever I saw you, but you always seemed so determined to make it work. Was I blind or just stupid? I asked bitterly. Neither. You were in love with who you thought she was. That is not stupidity, just humanity. That afternoon, by coincidence, I spoke with Mr. Ramirez after his daughter's parent conference. He was a divorce attorney who had always been appreciative of my work with his child. Maria told me how you stayed after school to help her prepare for her college interviews, he said. That kind of dedication is rare. Without revealing specifics, I asked him hypothetical questions about marriages where one spouse hid assets and engaged in inappropriate relationships. His answers were both professional and compassionate. If you ever need more specific advice, my door is always open, he said, handing me his card. Teachers get a professional discount. That night alone in the guest bedroom, something shifted inside me. The crushing weight of betrayal and inadequacy began to transform into something else. Clarity. I had spent years trying to become someone worthy of Amanda's love, while she had been planning her escape to something better. I thought of my students, how I constantly reminded them of their inherent worth, regardless of economic background. How hollow those words seemed now, when I had failed to apply them to myself. The next morning I opened an email I had ignored 3 times over the past year. An invitation to participate in a teaching exchange program in Kyoto, Japan. The position offered similar pay to my current job, but included housing and the opportunity to teach English while learning about Japanese educational approaches. I had dismissed it previously because Amanda had laughed at the idea. What would I do in Japan? My career is here. As I stared at the email, I realized I had never once considered what I wanted separately from Amanda's desires. With trembling fingers, I responded to ask if the position was still available. It was. And they wanted an answer within 2 weeks. Suddenly energized, I contacted Mr. Ramirez officially as a client. With his guidance, I documented Amanda's separate account, the emotional affair with Jackson, and began organizing our shared assets. I opened my own separate account for my personal savings, something I should have maintained all along. Rather than confronting Amanda immediately, I worked quietly to prepare for a complete life change. I submitted my application for the teaching exchange, interviewed via video conference, and received an official offer within days. The program director seemed thrilled to have an experienced literature teacher interested in the cultural exchange aspect. For 2 weeks, I maintained a facade of resigned acceptance at home. Amanda barely noticed, caught up in preparations for her London trip. She assumed my quietness was submission, that I had accepted my place as the replaceable husband. The night before her departure, I suggested we have dinner at home. She agreed absently, probably relieved I wasn't making a scene about her traveling with Jackson. I prepared her favorite meal and set the dining room table with candles and our best dishes. When she came downstairs, dressed casually but elegantly, a flicker of confusion crossed her face. "What is the occasion?" she asked. "Just wanted to talk before your trip," I replied calmly. As we ate, I asked about her work projects with genuine interest. She began talking animatedly about her marketing campaigns, visibly relaxing, as she assumed we were falling back into our familiar pattern. After dessert, I brought out a gift bag and placed it before her. "What is this?" she asked, surprised. "Something I think you want," I said quietly. She opened the bag and pulled out a folder containing divorce papers already signed by me. Her face drained of color as she flipped through the pages detailing the division of assets, including documentation of her hidden account and evidence of her inappropriate relationship with Jackson. "What is this?" she whispered. "You said I was replaceable," I replied, my voice steady despite my pounding heart. "You wanted something better. I am giving you the freedom to find it." I slid another document across the table. "My acceptance of the teaching position in Japan. While you are finding your something better, I will be finding mine too." She stared at me, as though seeing me for the first time. "You cannot be serious. This is insane. You would throw away 6 years of marriage because of one overheard conversation." "No, Amanda. I am ending 6 years of trying to be someone I am not, for a woman who never appreciated who I actually am. Perry, be reasonable. We can work this out." Her tone shifted to the patronizing one she used when she thought I was being difficult. "Everyone says things they do not mean sometimes. The thing is, I believe you did mean it, and the evidence suggests you have been acting on those feelings for some time." Her eyes narrowed. "So this is revenge." I shook my head. "This is self-respect, something I have compromised for too long. And Japan. That is just to hurt me. No, it is an opportunity I have always wanted to pursue but set aside because it did not fit with your plans. Now I am making my own plans." "What about us?" she demanded, anger replacing shock. "There is no us, Amanda. There is the life you want with someone who meets your social and financial expectations. And there is the life I want, where I am valued, for who I am, not measured by what I can provide." "I heard you wanted something better, Amanda," I continued softly. "I am giving us both the chance to find it." Amanda's reactions cycled through disbelief, anger, and finally desperate negotiation. She accused me of blindsiding her, of overreacting, of manufacturing evidence. When those approaches failed, she tried to appeal to our history, "We can go to counseling," she suggested tearfully. "I will cancel London. We can work on our communication." But something had fundamentally changed within me. The pain remained, but it no longer controlled my decisions. I had already accepted the teaching position and arranged for a colleague to sublet my half of the house. The divorce terms were fair, even generous, as Mr. Ramirez had helped me approach the division of assets from a place of clarity rather than vengeance. "I wish you well, Amanda," I told her honestly, "but we both deserve partners who truly value us for who we are." She left for London the next day, sending conflicted text messages alternating between anger and pleading. I focused on preparing for Japan, donating or storing the possessions I had accumulated during our marriage. The aftermath unfolded in ways neither of us could have predicted. Amanda returned from London to discover that her something better was less attainable than she had imagined. Jackson, upon learning of our impending divorce, revealed his true nature. Rather than stepping in as her next partner, he distanced himself, professionally concerned about workplace complications. "He said we should keep things professional until my divorce is finalized," she admitted during one of our brief conversations about selling the house. The hurt in her voice was genuine, and despite everything, I felt a moment of sympathy. Her parents, whom I had expected to side with her, completely surprised me with their response. Her father called one evening as I packed. "Amanda told us what happened," he said gruffly. "I want you to know that while we stand by our daughter, we do not condone how she has treated you. You have always been a man of integrity, Perry." Those words meant more than he could know. By the time I boarded my flight to Kyoto, the worst of the legal matters had been resolved. Amanda would keep the house and buy out my portion of the equity. Our joint accounts had been divided, and the divorce would be finalized within months. Japan welcomed me with cherry blossoms and new beginnings. My apartment was small, but overlooked a peaceful garden. The school where I taught English literature to Japanese teenagers, eager to improve their language skills, embraced my interactive teaching methods. Those first few weeks were not without pain and doubt. I would wake in the night wondering if I had made a terrible mistake, if I should have fought harder for my marriage. But those moments became less frequent as I immersed myself in Japanese culture and formed new connections. I made friends with fellow teachers from Australia, Canada, and local Japanese educators. We explored Kyoto's ancient temples on weekends and gathered for international dinner parties where no one judged anyone by their salary or career ambitions. For the first time in years, I felt free to be authentically myself, a dedicated teacher who found joy in simple pleasures and meaningful conversations. I rediscovered hobbies I had abandoned during my marriage. Photography became a weekend passion as I captured Kyoto's changing seasons. I joined a community basketball league. I started learning Japanese, stumbling through conversations with patient locals who appreciated my efforts. 6 months into my new life, Amanda sent an email that brought unexpected closure. She had begun therapy and recognized patterns in her behavior that stemmed from her privileged upbringing and parents' expectations. "I valued the wrong things and lost someone irreplaceable," she wrote. "I am not asking for reconciliation. Just wanted you to know that you helped me see myself clearly for the first time." I wished her well and meant it. The divorce was finalized with minimal additional communication. Our house sold, and Amanda moved to Boston for a fresh start. 2 years have passed since that fateful day when I overheard those crushing words. The pain has faded, replaced by wisdom I could never have gained otherwise. I extended my teaching contract for another year, having found fulfillment in this unexpected chapter of life. I have learned that true partnerships are built on mutual respect and appreciation, not on what material advantages one person brings to the relationship. I have discovered that recognizing your own worth is essential before allowing someone else to determine it. And perhaps most importantly, I have realized that sometimes the bravest response to being told you are replaceable is not trying harder to prove your value, but instead finding environments where your value is already recognized. Recently, I have developed a friendship with May, a literature professor at Kyoto University. Our conversations about books have evolved into deeper discussions about life and future dreams. I am approaching this connection with both openness and healthy caution. Grateful for the lessons that allow me to recognize genuine appreciation. Life continues to unfold in unexpected ways. The something better I found was not a better relationship with someone else. It was a better relationship with myself. And from that foundation, everything else has followed. What parts of yourself have you compromised that might be worth reclaiming? Have you ever walked away from a situation where you were undervalued and found something unexpectedly better? Share your experiences in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to hear more journeys of self-discovery and personal growth. And remember, sometimes the most valuable thing you can give yourself is the courage to start again. Thank you for listening to my story, and I wish you strength on your own path to finding what truly makes your life better.